also,
Okay.
because we have more, more things to take action on.
All right. So we've got, let's see here.
Did you guys take an action to come back in?
Oh, crap. Do we have a motion to leave the executive session?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? All right. Now we did.
Thank you.
We just wanted you to hear it, Cheryl.
I appreciate it. I like to hear it.
All right. So what do we, I think the first item we're okay, be resolved. So.
I updated that resolution. I just updated the resolution.
Is it the one I'm seeing? Be it resolved 2021 salaries
As presented.
of the manager. Oh, no, that's not.
Oh,
what-
yeah. Let me change that. I didn't know I had two of those.
Do I have to refresh it or something?
No, I'm changing it right now.
I do. Well, do we have a motion to approve what we just discussed?
A motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any public discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay. The Alden Place electrical upgrade. Let's see. Oh, there it is down at the bottom. Bids were received. So the Alden one is, was that the $100,000 one?
The Alden is the $175,000 one, and the Elm is the $100,000 project.
Because I see 100. Am I looking at the wrong one?
Yep. So Alden, yeah. So we had excellent bids.
Yeah.
And when we had our bid opening on October 13th, we have our base bid of 68.9 and our alternate of 33.3. And what we are recommending is that we accept the base bid, and we do seek to replace the underground conduit feeders. And for right now, we withhold on, while it's in the budget, we do withhold on the existing pole replacement because we might not need that. And it's going to depend on how much work needs to get done. So on the Alden Place Elementary, we're looking at projected construction costs of $112,300. And we're recommending that the board approve as presented on this, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. And then the Elm Drive, because of the way that the accounting and the ESED approval happens, we do each individual building project separately. So that would be.
So this is Alden. So when does this project get done?
Completed over spring break.
Over spring break.
Yep, and we may be, if God forbid we end up in a remote situation and we have to readjust and everything, we would be in a situation where we would be checking with our contractor, and chances are they would want to be able to get in here and finish things up sooner than later anyway, so they can clear their schedule. But if not, the projected schedule goes to the end of spring break.
Now we have no, like, our servers and stuff that we would need if we were fully remote. Are they in this building? I don't remember.
Yeah, so the majority of our server equipment is at the middle school.
Okay.
So we have our gateways and our electrical closet at the middle school. We have individual closets at each building, but all of our work is all of our primary hardware is at the middle school.
So we just need to make sure Elliot's on board that, if we did that, like if Cuomo shut us down for 14 days and we decided to do this, it wouldn't interrupt our our remote learning capabilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, Brian, could you explain, so these two projects, they came in below, which is good.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, because these were part of our annual renewal projects, I guess, or projects. What happens to the balances that, considering we're quite different?
Yeah.
than what we've
So what would end up happening, there are several different scenarios that could play out. So first, we also have our soft costs that get attributed to the budget. So we can, or to the project. So we could have legal fees and insurance fees, like builder's risk fees, our architect fees. All of that is chargeable as well to the project. And that would happen in both projects, the Elm and the Alden. And after all of that, the board would be left with a couple of different decisions on that. Most of it, because all of it gets transferred into our construction fund, because we make all the payments out of our H fund, our construction fund, and the rest would come back to the general fund for fund balance if it weren't spent, and if it were the decision of the board that there were other electrical opportunities with a contractor on site. You would certainly be able to do a change order up to $35,000
Okay.
under general municipal law if there was money under the cap. And you might say, well, we have, and I'm just going to throw something out, we have a whole bunch of outlets that we would want to change out, and we have a contractor on site, and we were able to do that. That we could say, as an example, we're looking at the potential for needing to teach differently in a post-pandemic world, and we need to be able to have all of our overhead outlets created to make sure that we're set for different instruction. We can do something like that too. So what we will be prepared to do is have a list of additional opportunities for board consideration, and we'll make sure that we do that. And again, it would have to be in the same school building.
Oh, same building. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So smaller projects, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else? All right, so if I go back to the agenda, if I can find my way back. All right, so do I have a motion to approve the Alden Place electrical upgrade project?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any against? Okay. Same thing. Do I have a motion to approve the Elm Drive upgrade?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? All right. Building safety plan, we're going to shelve the approval process because we're not ready, or there's things to be done. Is there any questions from the public? Cheryl?
Yep, I have a couple. So this is from Chris LaBelle. What is the reasoning behind the decision to return students to fully remote instruction during the week leading up to Thanksgiving?
I can answer. Yep. Good question. We mentioned it earlier too, that's really a good time for the administrative team and the director of facilities, transportation, and food services to really evaluate and assess the in-person, the hybrid, and to be able to identify any areas that need attention and prepare them in preparation for coming back in after Thanksgiving.
And then this is Dawn Tompkins. I asked this question before remote started and how hybrid has started. When administration during your Board of Ed meetings kept referring parents to the parent portal school tool, you said yes, all teachers would be using this platform going forward so parents can see their child's assessments and grades. So my question is, why aren't all teachers using parent portal school tool so we can see assignments and grades as you said they were going to use this? We need continuity for parents to find students' assignments and grades. You had stated all teachers would use this platform and they would all be on board with using it. Even during my question of this previously, Chris Rosenberg stated that how helpful it was during COVID-19 closing from March to June 2020 when checking on his students' work grades and progress. It is challenging for parents to have to check 2 or 3 different places to find out on a daily basis where their student is doing, not doing, and what grades they are receiving. We need to use Parent Portal School Tool or not at all and just use Google Classroom. So I don't know if anybody wants to.
I think during that conversation, it was something that we were going to revisit and see and try to work on it together. I don't know if calling or contacting the principal of the building and having a conversation would be helpful as well, and sort of clarifying and answering any questions.
And
So is it a direction or directive or whatever you want to call it that we've given to our teachers on how to do this? Or not how to do it, but that we want them to do it this way or we want them to do it that way?
I don't know if Caroline can speak to that.
No, and it hasn't been. They're required to keep grade books. There hasn't been anything that has required them to keep grade books in school tool. Generally in my previous district, that would be something that would have to be like a negotiated item, that they would be required to keep a grade book in a particular place. So that's something that would probably require conversations with the teachers union.
So what can, I mean, the kids are all in school tool, right? I mean, it's
Correct.
just, it's a matter of, you know, some teachers put all their grade, like, I guess, use it as a grade book. Some use an actual grade book as a grade book.
Correct. And
But-
for it to be effective in terms of it being an effective means for parents to keep up to date with how their child is progressing in terms of work handed in, et cetera, it's also going to be something that would require additional conversations in terms of turnaround, feedback, how quickly grades need to be entered and feedback needs to be maintained within that system. So this is part of a much larger conversation between the district and the union. Not sure something that we can really decide right in this moment.
Okay.
Something that we can tell the teachers. I mean, I could tell you that it's extremely helpful for parents to have it, just at a glance, especially because you're not going in and you're kind of, you know, when they're in school, you don't really need to check on them as much as when they're sitting in their room. So it is extremely helpful. So even if we could just highly suggest it if we can't require it, because some teachers do use it religiously and others do not. But I understand it could be a union issue.
Yeah, the point of it's only going to really serve that purpose if we have a specific amount of time of how quickly we want them to have that feedback in there, right? So I feel like those are the conversations we have to be able to have in order for that purpose to be able to be served.
Well, the other part of it too is right now, as long as we're in this hybrid mode, you know, at least from what I've seen from the 3 that I watch, they're, you know, I see the assignments they had, I see that they submitted them, and I see the grade that they got. So now if they had to take that and transfer that out into School Tool, I don't know how you would, I mean, maybe there's an actual tool that does that for you, but then maybe we could automate that in the district to just load the stuff from Google Classroom. Because I check every day on those three and make sure that everything was submitted. They submit, even their art projects go online. I don't know how you would get that to go into School Tools.
Yep, and there may actually be a sync. And I should say, while it may not be an item of negotiation, exactly, not actual negotiable, but conversation might be better stated between the district and the union in terms of what it might look like, requirements, turnaround time, etc.
But if they had it all, like all their assignment stuff in Google Classroom, and we just automated it, does that need to be negotiated?
So maybe not negotiated, but conversations, right? And if they are all using Google Classroom, possibly, not everyone is using Google Classroom either. So these are all conversations, part of a much larger conversation that may need to be had. And certainly with that turnaround time, if we want it to be able to be, kept up to date, that's something that's going to be part of a much larger conversation. How quickly do grades need to be put into a grade book? Because one of the things that we do talk about is 5-week progress reports and report cards. But if we're talking about parents being able to keep up with like day-to-day assignments, et cetera, then there's got to be an expectation of how quickly we're marking that something was received by a teacher, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. All right.
And the last is also Dawn Tompkins, not a question, but a comment to all the Board of Education, administration, teachers, and all the staff that make our schools district function. It's a huge undertaking with what has been done and what still has to be done. Just to let you know, it is appreciated, all the time and dedication that everyone has put into getting us back into the schools. And that is it.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yeah, thanks, Don. All right. Anything for future meetings other than, a lot of the stuff we've already discussed? Going once, going twice. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Of a second.
I'll second.
Now, we still have till 11 o'clock, so why don't we? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? All right, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, all.
All right.
Right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.